Let us stand for a moment of quiet reflection or prayer as you wish. As we are about to take counsel together on matters concerning this county, we should seek to faithfully discharge our duties of office, both in our debate and in our decisions, and promote the health, safety and well-being of those we serve. Thank you. Fellow councillors, officers and members of the public, including those listening in by the webcast, welcome to our council meeting this evening. We are not expecting a fire drill, therefore in the event of a fire alarm, please leave the chamber by the nearest exit and assemble at the rear of the council car park. Before we get onto the agenda, I would like to inform members that I've decided to exercise my discretion under Procedure Rule 20, brackets 2, to vary the order of business on the agenda this evening. Specifically, once we have concluded items 1 to 9 of the agenda as usual, I will take the motion on care experience at item 14A, then proceed to item 19 on the Captain Sports contract. At the conclusion of that item, we will then take the rest of the agenda in the original order as it appears on the agenda. I'd also like to make it clear what's taking place on item 19. This is one of the most difficult decisions we've had to make this session, and we need to make sure we make the right decision for Rutland. Council is being asked to make a decision on the contract for the public leisure services at Captain Sports Centre. A debate and a decision on the contract is expected to take place in private session because it relates to a live procurement exercise and will require the disclosure of commercially sensitive financial information. But in the interest of transparency and democratic accountability, I am minded to have part of item 19 in public to allow members to refer to the public documents in the pack at appendices A and C, but not Appendix B or the supplementary update, and they must not give any indication of how they may be minded to vote. This will not preclude them from speaking once more in the exempt session. Confirmation of the decision reached by councillors tonight can only be made after bidders have been notified about the outcome of the procurement, and the council hopes to confirm details of its final decision within a week of this meeting taking place. As with all council meetings, this is open to the public. However, this is not a meeting for the public. Any disruption of the meeting or attempts to interrupt those speaking will not be tolerated. Finally, I'd also like to remind members to stand and ensure your microphone is switched on, and please speak clearly into it. When voting, please ensure your hand is fully raised and wait until voting is confirmed before lowering it. Okay, thank you. And now on to the agenda. Number 1 is apologies. Do we have any apologies this evening, Mr. Delaney?
None received, Chairman.
Okay, therefore Council is voting to 27 this evening. Item 2, Chairman's announcements. Since the last ordinary meeting of the Council, either myself or the Vice Chairman have attended the following civic engagements: planting of the King's Coronation Tree in Ketton, installation of the Right Reverend Debbie Sellin as Bishop of Peterborough at Peterborough Cathedral, and I was the guest speaker at Ketton Talks at Ketton Congregational Hall. Item 3, announcements from the Leader, members of the Cabinet or Head of Paid Service. I would invite the Leader to address the Council.
Thank you. I have provided... Thank you, Chairman. I have provided Democratic Services with a list of my activities for the last month, which will be appended to the minutes, I believe. I'm getting a nod. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Waller. Do any other members of the Cabinet wish to speak? Nope. Okay, thank you. Item 4, declarations of interests. Do we have any declarations of interest this evening? Councillor Carr.
Yes, I know it's not a requirement, but for purposes of transparency, I would like to declare that I am a member of the Christian.
Okay, any other members? Okay, thank you. Item 5, minutes of the previous meeting. We have, of course, the minutes of the meeting held on the 26th February. Do we have a proposer that the minutes be approved as an accurate record. Mr. West, I'm a seconder. Mr. Smith. All those in favour of the minutes being approved, please raise your hand.
Chairman, one abstention from Amendment 1 President.
Okay, and an abstention from Councillor Harvey. So the minutes are therefore approved. Item 6, petitions, deputations and questions from members of the public. No petitions, deputations or questions have been received. Item 7, questions from members of the council. I think Mr. Delaney, no questions have been received. From members of the council. Item 8, referral of committee decisions to the council. There are no referrals for consideration this evening. Item 9, calling of decisions from cabinet meetings during the period from 26th February to 25th of March. There are no call-ins for consideration this evening. So at this point, I will vary the order of the agenda in accordance with Procedure Rule 20(2) of the Council's Constitution. We will first take the motion on care experience at item 14A, and then take item 19 on the Captain Sports contract. And at the conclusion of that item, we'll take the rest of the agenda in the original order as published. So item 14A is making care experience a protected characteristic. Councillor Smith, can you please introduce the motion and propose it?
Thank you, Chair. I'm very pleased to bring this motion to the Council. Care as a protected characteristic. I would ask you to reflect for a moment what comes to your mind when the interviewer on the radio says, "Well, we're now going to discuss this issue with Professor so-and-so." I was aware a bit ago that the image that came to my mind was a white man. Example of stereotypical thinking, oversimplified, widely held idea of a typical type of person. It can, of course, be much worse, as in direct prejudice, hostility, taking various forms, and it is quite rightly legislated for in the 2010 Equality Act. The idea of care as a protected characteristic was first put forward by Terry Galloway, a local town councillor. He was brought up in care and suffered significant prejudice. I was made aware of the issue at one of our corporate parent board meetings by the head of Children's Social Services. The motion you have before you summarises very well the reasons why care should be a protected characteristic. Earlier this year, I met 3 of our care leaders, and they told me their experiences. Had people had fixed ideas about them, regarded them as being damaged, troublemakers. One of them said because they couldn't get a job. And there are many barriers for care leavers, and it leads to rather disquieting outcomes. 50% of the prison population under 21 have spent some time in the care system. 38% are not employed, in education or in training. They have difficulty getting housed. They have much reduced numbers in entering higher education. 13% against 43% in care continuously for 12 months. I recently attended the virtual school annual conference. The first speaker was Fatima Whitbread, the Olympian javelin thrower. I think it was the only time I get an Olympic medal around my neck. She was in care for some 14 years, and it was humbling to hear her experiences of a child growing up in a children's home. She was fortunate enough to have 2 people who saw her potential. One of them was a javelin coach, and she adopted Fatima, and Fatima was 14 years old. In her talk, she did mention that care leavers, because of their experience, are resilient. And that's, looking for when they can't be employed. But at the same time, they have vulnerabilities. They don't have the network of family and friends that we all, I hope, all have. There are now around 57 local authorities who have passed this motion. It will not be a law, so what is the point? I believe, as with other issues such as race and sexuality, perceptions can change, as they certainly have done in my lifetime. I think it would be particularly useful to engage with our local employers. I know one local authority that has a meeting between care leavers and local employers. The meeting was run by the care leavers. I think it was a great success. And if passed, we could do the same, perhaps involving our virtual school, as it is very much involved with giving support to children looked after and our care leavers. But let's start with ourselves. We are all corporate parents. Now remember that if children and young people have been in our care, we are their corporate parents until they are 25. I mentioned the fact that care leaders have, but it doesn't have to be like that. The reason for adopting this motion is stated in the motion. I just want to read the bit out. If adopted, ensures that supporting care experienced individuals is not an add-on, but a fundamental aspect of policy development and decision making. The approach guarantees that policies are developed with equity in mind, ensuring that care experienced individuals have the support and opportunities they need to thrive. It is important that right from when children come into our care, we do all we possibly can to reduce those barriers and help our care leavers into adulthood. I'm pleased this evening we do have a care leaver with us, and as part of our care leavers pathway is now employed by Rutland County Council. So I hope you can support this motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Johnson, as you wish to speak as the seconder of this motion.
I'll just say something very quickly, Chair. I became physically disabled 14 years ago, and what I suddenly recognised was the insidious nature of discrimination, and so I became really aware of it. My mental capacities were not affected, but people assumed they were. And I've seen lists where I'm on a short list, and as soon as I walk in the room, there's a cross by my name. So I decided to retire was my response to that. But I think this sort of discrimination is exactly the same. People make up their minds, and they shouldn't do. And the people affected should be helped through this, because if they're not, we're ignoring a vast amount of skill that exists in the population. So that's why I said I'm seconding the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Before I open the debate, I'd like to invite Hope Stead to address the council. As mentioned by Councillor Smith, Hope is a care leaver, and she's here to speak to us regarding her experiences and why this motion is important to people with care experience. So, Hope, over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. As a care experienced person myself, I know my experiences will have a lifelong impact on me. Being care experienced is something that I discuss with my children, my friends and my colleagues. The experiences we have are something that will never leave us, and we shouldn't be discriminated against or face stigma for requiring protection as children. To make care experience a protected characteristic, you are giving care experienced people a voice. It will provide a safe space for us to spark important conversations, sharing knowledge and empowering us and our experiences. It ensures and enables you to keep your promise and responsibility as corporate parents to care for these children like your own. It provides an opportunity for lifelong commitment to equality for care experienced people. It is important that independence is encouraged with young people leaving care. This provides an opportunity for you as corporate parents to ensure that we don't face prejudice and discrimination throughout our journeys to independence and our adult lives. Making care experience a protected characteristic ensures care experienced people can feel more confident that we will be treated equally. It gives me confidence that employers will be more knowledgeable and won't feel they shouldn't hire us because we might have lots of time off due to previous trauma, or that housing associations and landlords won't discriminate against care leavers associating them with antisocial behaviour and feeling less inclined to provide adequate housing. You have an opportunity to provide equality for us. Please use this opportunity to support us. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Hope, for that, and thank you for taking the time to address us. And I'm sure all the other members of council will join me in welcoming you to Rutland County Council, and we wish you all the best in your role. Members, now open to debate. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Chairman. As you know, I am the children care champion for Rutland, and I really welcome this proposal. Like my fellow councillor, last week I had the absolute pleasure and privilege of listening to Fatima Whitbread's story and experience. Fatima is on a mission to improve this system through her own foundation called Fatima's Foundation. I feel this proposal is an important step in the right direction and actually builds on what Hope has quite wonderfully explained to us. It can serve as an important example for other Rutland businesses and organisations, and I hope that they decide to follow suit. I do have a small plea though, which builds on what has been set out in the proposal, that if approved, it is implemented at the earliest opportunity and isn't as some tokenistic gesture. We need to make a difference, and by putting the policy into action, then we will be doing what we feel is not only right for the here and now, but also for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Other members? Councillor West.
Go on then, Chairman, I'll say something. Hope I met you first when we had a presentation put on by Children's Services, which hit me right here. I was so deeply impressed, members, by what I saw that evening, and the fact that there could be some sort of unconscious bias, which we hear so much about today in the professional world, is so wrong, that we must protect this characteristic, and well, not that we can legislate, but that we should, as a body, do what we can to make sure that care leavers are not discriminated against in any way at all. I couldn't think of anything more disgusting than discriminating against the wonderful group of people that I saw down here a month or so ago at the presentation evening. It was absolutely staggering, and I don't think I've ever been more impressed in I don't know how many years. So I will be backing this motion, and I encourage everybody else to do the same.
Councillor West, other members? Councillor Hampton.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think it's a sad sign of the times when we have to have a motion like this. But like Councillor West, I was at the event and I was very touched by what I heard by the people there and the sort of passion that they have. So I'm hoping that if we do pass this motion, that the Council will support us as members to be able to get behind it. And I'm happy with my role as involved with the businesses to support it across the county as best I can, because I think it's critical to get it done. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ainsley. Any other members? Would you like to sum up, Councillor Smith?
Well, I'd just like to thank Hope for her words, Tracy, Councillor Carr for her words, Councillor Johnson for seconding and backing it up. I just recommend the motion to the Council. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is that Council A agrees to support and treat care experience as a protected characteristic in law, to to join many other local authorities who have already done so, and B, requests that the leader lobby national government to have this enshrined in law so that there is an FT for all care experienced people. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Okay, thank you. The motion is approved.